All right, friends, so today's video is a little bit heavier. I do have my mom's permission to talk about this topic. So I wanted to share that my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and I'm going to be talking about it in today's video. She's going to watch the video, so she is going to give me full permission to disclose anything that I will in today's video. So let's get into it. So it's just been a whirlwind. It has just been a whirlwind, honestly. Kind of to start out, a disclaimer is that I am incredibly protective of my mom. There's been just several instances where I have had to protect my mom or been the only one in a position to help my mom from a very young age. Kind of the trauma of that, which actually, I think at some point I might talk about that story, one of them at least, because I think it's healing for me to talk about it. I probably cry a lot, but the more I've talked about it, the easier it has been to talk about it. So that's in another video. But the context of that is that I'm super protective of my mom. And my mom is almost 70 years old too. And so like, I just feel this very, like my mom is my best friend. You know, both my parents are my best friends. And so like anything that happens to my parents, I'm just like very concerned about. And so my mom went to see the dermatologist that I see that is helping me put me on the cephalexin right now. And we're doing that whole experiment for the cephalexin. That's why I have some physical energy right now. And so she saw the dermatologist for 2 spots and also just a full body check, but 2 spots that had been kind of concerning for about a year or so. The telltale sign that they were cancer and she was concerned about cancer was that they would bleed for no reason at all. And when my mom said that, the doctor was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that these are gonna come back as cancer. So she did biopsies. My mom has 1 spot on her nose. Actually, it's on this side of her nose. And she has 1 spot here, and they did a biopsy on that. It came back as pre-cancer. So my mom has the decision to make of, do we want to go with basically a chemotherapy cream that can really kind of burn your nose, is what the doctor was saying. And you put this cream on, it looks really bad for like 2 weeks, and then hopefully it has gotten all of the cancer. Or using, I believe it was liquid nitrogen, just kind of burning it off, I think, if I'm saying that right. And so that is that spot. The other spot is in a really difficult place. It is right here on the inside of her eye. And that one did come back as cancer. And that one came back as basal cell. However, we really want another opinion because my mentor, his father, was diagnosed with basal cell and it ended up not being basal cell, and he had the surgery to remove the basal cell. It was not basal cell and he ended up dying. And so like, we just want to be sure. We want to be sure before we move forward with surgery. We want just a second opinion. Let me tell you more about what the surgery would entail. Because it is right here on the inside of her eye, they would like to do Mohs surgery, where they basically take off layers of your skin until they don't find cancer anymore. But she would need 2 surgeons, is what they've been telling her. She would need the one surgeon to do the cancer surgery and then another surgeon to do reconstructive surgery because of where it is on her eye. And so she would need to see 2 surgeons, maybe even on different days, which is wild. But the most wild thing is that like when they called her to give her the results, it was a scheduler. It wasn't a nurse, it wasn't a doctor, it was a scheduler being like, so, you know, these are your results, and so we're gonna schedule you for surgery. And my mom was like, whoa, wait, like she's very sensitive to anesthesia, and she's had some surgeries that haven't gone, like they've been normal surgeries, but they haven't gone well. So we really want to talk to the surgeon and meet the surgeon before she has these surgeries. And in this case, the surgeons do not meet with their patients beforehand. And so again, we really would like a second opinion before going forward, because we just have a lot of, you know, concerns about like the placement of the surgery and what kind of anesthesia they're going to use. And again, we want that second opinion to make sure that it is basal cell cancer. And so it's just been a lot. It's been a lot to process, especially right around the holiday season. We've had so much going on. We ended up making another appointment with the dermatologist being like, we want to talk about the options, because they were just going to send the cream and they weren't even going to talk about the other options of the freezing. I guess it's freezing instead of burning. I don't know. Yeah, liquid nitrogen would be freezing. Anyway, you know, they were just gonna like decide for her basically what treatment she was gonna get. And we want to be, you know, engaged patients who are deciding for ourselves what is best for our body from the information from the doctors. So yeah, we are really looking forward, and this is where I need your help. If you are in the Delaware, PA area, Delaware and I guess southeastern PA area, we're looking for a second opinion. So if you love your dermatologist or your skin cancer specialist, please let me know. Either message me on social media or comment the name below. I am really trying to help my mom. Like, I'm calling dermatologists because we had got one name of a dermatologist. They were scheduling out just to see the dermatologist until like March or June. And that's a really long time. Now, they did say it is like a slow moving one, so she could wait a couple of months. And then this one on her nose, like, it could never turn into cancer, or it could turn into cancer in months or years. We don't know. So we're trying to get in to see a dermatologist to get a second opinion as fast as possible, but it's tough to coordinate. So I'm really trying to help my mom out while I'm on the cephalexin, because my mom is my caregiver. When I'm off the cephalexin, I do not have the energy to do basically anything. She, you know, does my laundry, she cooks all my meals, she drives me to my doctor's appointments, and then when I'm at my dad's, my dad does those things, and I'm pretty much split my time between my two parents' houses. And so while I'm on the cephalexin, I'm really trying to help her out. So, you know, with the name of dermatologist, I'm going to try to be calling dermatologists with the recommendations we get, because we've also had a really bad experience with a dermatologist. Like, she literally had a biopsy done and they did not give her anesthesia for it. Like, with my scalp biopsy, they gave me lidocaine. With her biopsy here and here, they numbed the area before they did it, and she was not given anesthesia for that previous biopsy that she had done. And the guy was really a jerk, if I'm being honest. So we're very careful with the doctors we see and try to get recommendations from people we know and trust to see these other doctors, because it's tough out there finding really good ones who are going to listen to you, right? So that's something I'm trying to help my mom out with, is going to be calling these dermatologists that we're getting recommendations from, being like, hey, do you have a wait list? Are you accepting new patients? How long before you would see a new patient? Just to try to get in to see someone who we trust and respect to get that second opinion. And then we have more information going forward, and then maybe they would recommend a surgeon who we would get to meet before they do your surgery. Because when I had my lip biopsy done, the doctor doing my procedure, she said, you never want to have anyone operate on you or do a procedure on you without first meeting them on a separate day from the procedure and talk with them and have an appointment with them. And so, like, the fact that that is not happening in this case really bothers me, if I'm being honest. Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at right now, is just in the discovery stage of trying to get more information, do our own research, talk to people who have, you know, had this done or have had experiences where it's a little bit harder of a place. It's not just a simple Mohs surgery, you would have to have reconstruction with it as well. And so we're just trying to get as much information as possible. So I think these things have happened like so fast that we haven't even really had time to process. Like, we've had so much going on with my health. You know, we just had our fundraiser this last weekend where we did raise a little over $1,500 for Forgotten Cats. So thank you so much to anyone who came out and supported us or shared on social media or have supported us in any way in the past as well. It's just really exciting to have done these things for the cats and be able to raise this money for Forgotten Cats. That's another thing. Like, my mom, she just put so much time and energy, and she has limited energy. She has chronic fatigue syndrome, so her health has not been great. She's been dealing with a lot of eye stuff too. And so, like, she has very limited energy, but she does things like, one, care for me. That's so selfless. And then also, she puts so much time and energy into preparing for these fundraising events so that they will be successful, so that we have inventory to sell, and then we get to raise so much money for Forgotten Cats. And so she takes care of me and community, and I'm trying to do something for her here and try to help her out. And obviously, once I'm off the cephalexin, that's gonna really suck because I won't have the energy to really be able to help as much. So, like, in her surgery recovery and stuff, I probably won't be on cephalexin to help, which really is frustrating, because you want to help caregive for someone you love, but then you just don't have the energy to even take care of yourself. So that really sucks. But in the meantime, I'm trying to do everything I can to prepare for that, to help her find a dermatologist that she really connects with and feels comfortable with and trusts as that second opinion. And so yes, if you know of anyone, or if you know of anyone who has had skin cancer, if you could ask them if they live in the Delaware area or southeastern PA area, we are really trying right now to get those second opinion. And so yeah, there's just been, like I said, so much going on. And then like with the holidays, it's a lot. And then with my health, you know, being on sulfaxin, and we've been trying like new things, and I'm gonna be seeing an herbalist soon. And like there's just been a lot going on and a lot of new things that my mom like helps me. She helps me prepare for all these doctor's appointments for myself. She helps me, you know, think of questions to ask. She takes me to those doctor's appointments. So I just am trying to help her out in any way. So if there are any like experiences that you have had that you think would be helpful to share, please again let me know. If there are any names of doctors or specialists, please let me know. If there are any questions you think we should be asking, this is all new. We don't really have cancer in our family, and so this is such a new like territory for us. So if you think of any like questions that like make sure to ask this, please let me know, because this is just all it's very overwhelming and there's so much going on. And so I am really open, and my mom is really open to like any suggestions that you have. So yes, I will update you all on the journey as we go, as we get more information, and hopefully she, you know, has that surgery. But it's just like a lot. It's very overwhelming right now. And so I'm just kind of processing like on this video right here in front of you. I am kind of sorry, there's so much dust in here right now with the light coming in through how it is, like the dust is being spotlit, so I'm sorry about that. But I'm just kind of live processing with you all, and so I really appreciate you listening and letting me process out loud. So again, if you want to comment below, feel free. If you want to kind of do it in a more direct way, I have a Facebook page that is public that you could message me on, although I don't check that. I don't have my notifications turned on that, so I check it much more infrequently. And then I do have an Instagram, which the link is below, so you can just go check it out, that you could direct message me on as well if you wanted to share in a more private way and not publicly post, which is totally fair. So thank you so much for listening, my friends. Please send healing vibes my mom's way as she kind of progresses through this process, and then with her surgery recovery. And I will talk to you all soon, my friends, with another video. Thanks for listening. Bye, everyone.